Hi all, welcome to BIAS Academy. Science and Technology audio notes for prelims and mains, Unit 1, Part 5. Today we're going to cover major scientific institutes for science and technology in India. Topics which we are going to cover are Science and Technology System in India, Department of Science and Technology, that is DST, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CISR, Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB, Indian Space Research Organization, that is ISRO, under which we are going to cover all the centers, that is Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Space Application Center, UR Rao Satellite Center, ISRO Inertial Systems Unit. Like that, we're going to cover all the 19 centers. After that, we're going to see Department of Atomic Energy, under which we're going to see Baba Atomic Research Center, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research. Like that, we're going to cover all the 13 centers under the Department of Atomic Energy. Next is we'll see CISR Labs, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research Labs in India. We will cover all the entire labs under it. There are around totally 9 of it. And next we're going to see Indian Council of Agricultural Research. And finally we'll see autonomous research centers in India and their contribution. Okay, let's start with the topic. The science and technology system in India. Or you can get a question like discuss the science and technology systems in India. The science and technology have always been an integral part of the Indian culture. Natural philosophy, as it was called in ancient times and was pursued vigorously at institutions of higher learning. You might have seen there are many philosophical schools like Nyaya, Vaisheshika which talks about atomic theory, Paramanu, which we have earlier discussed. Okay, coming back to the topic. The dawn of the 20th century witnessed great strides made by many Indian scientists like Srinivasa Ramanujan, J.C. Bose, P.C. Ray, Meghananda Saha, Sir C.V. Raman, Satyendranath Bose, Birbal Sahani, P.C. Mahalanobis, Mokshagundam Vishweshwaraya, Homi Jahangir Baba, Vikram Sarabhai, M.S. Swaminathan, Varghese Kurian. All these eminent people have left an indelible print on the world's science and technology scene. India's first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru gave wholehearted support to a concreted program for the promotion of science and technology in the country. As a result, many S&T departments and laboratories were set up, and the pursuance of scientific research started in an organized manner in the country. The science and technology system of the country consists of the central government departments, state government departments, as well as private industries and certain NGOs, that is, non-governmental organizations. The S&T departments under central government are Department of Science and Technology, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, that is DSIR, and next is Department of Atomic Energy, DAEE, and next is Department of Space, DOS, and Department of Biotechnology, DBT, Department of Ocean Development, that is DOD. All these are under central government. Department of Science and Technology is primarily entrusted with the responsibility of formulation of scientific policies and their implementation, identification and promotion of thrust or important areas of research in different sectors of science and technology, information forecasting, and assessment of international collaboration, promotion of science and society programs, coordination of science and technology activities across the country. Next, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, that is CSIR, which is under Department of Science and Industrial Research, is dedicated to research and development and well-defined areas. DSIR supports research and development activities by industry, programs aimed at technological, self-reliant, and national information system for science and technology. DAE is committed to peaceful uses of DAE is Department of Atomic Energy. He is committed to peaceful uses of atomic energy and establishing economic and nuclear power and extending non-power applications in areas of agriculture, healthcare, industry to improve the quality of life. Next is Department of Space. It operates through major setups like ISRO, which is responsible for planning and executing a viable space program to develop satellites and launch vehicles and provide space-based services in the area of communication, meteorology, agriculture, resources, survey, management, and sustainable development. Define what meteorology in the comments below. It is something related to Next is Department of Biotechnology, which is primarily responsible for identifying and supporting specific R&D programs in biotechnology and related product manufacture. Next is Department of Defense, it's not Department of Defense, Department of Ocean Development. It concerns itself with task of establishing policies for marine research and development, survey of living and non-living resources of exclusive economic zones and continental shelf of the country, exploration of deep seabed mining, harnessing wave energy, and consolidation of Antarctic research. You can understand by the scope of it that how important is Department of Ocean Development. In addition to national laboratories, R&D institutions in the central sector and industrial sector as well, the country's science and technology system comprises of vast number of universities which are dedicated for leading India for a better and a promising tomorrow as well. So till now we have seen the system, the science and technology systems in India. We have seen the contributions of eminent people like J.C. Bose, P.C. Ramanujan, and Saha C.V. Raman, etc. and many more. And then we have seen the contribution of first Prime Minister of India, which led to development of various departments and laboratories, and have discussed about the major important departments under central government, that is Department of Science and Technology, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Space, Department of Biotechnology, and most importantly, Department of Ocean Development. So let's go in detail. Let's go to the next topic, that is the functions or objectives of Department of Science and Technology. Department of Science and Technology was established on 3rd May 1971 under the Government of India following the success of Green Revolution. After the success of Green Revolution, DST was founded in 1971. From the time it is established, DST developed several streams that later established themselves as departments or even ministries with focused goals. Some of these include Department of Biotechnology, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Environment and Forests, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, that is MNRE. Next is Department of Electronics, DOE, and Ministry of Earth Sciences, MOES. Department of Science and Technology serves as a nodal agency connecting the science sector to the government verticals. The roles played by DST are varied and these evolved with time. So now let's look at the core functions and objectives of DST. One is, number one, development of science and technology policies. Number two, strengthening human resources and institutional capacities. Number three, enabling development and deployment of technologies. 4. Creating opportunities for societal intervention through S&T. 5. Establishing and engaging in mechanisms of cooperation, partnerships, and alliances. 6. Providing financial assistance in the form of grants to science and technology institutions and scientific societies. 7. Promoting the development of scientific applications that bring out welfare of weaker and poor sections as well as women. 8. Promoting the development of science and technology at the state, district, village level through state science and technology councils. These approaches that reflects its mission ensure holistic systemic influence immediate, medium, long-term gains. It enables cross-cutting impacts across various sectors. So let's recap about the objectives and functions of DST. When was it started? May 1971 due to the success of Green Revolution. And then its success led to development of several streams of the new which have grown into ministries and departments. Some of these include Department of Biotechnology, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Environment and Forests, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Department of Electronics, Ministry of Earth Sciences. So what is the primary role of DST? DST is a nodal agency which connects scientific sector and the government verticals. So what are the core objectives? They develop policies, mostly science and technology policies. They strengthening of human resources. 3. Development and deployment of technologies. 4. Creating opportunities through S&T interventions. 5. Establishing cooperation, partnerships and alliances. 6. Providing financial assistance to institutions and scientific societies. 7. Promoting scientific applications that bring welfare of the society. 8. Promote development of S&T in state, district and village level through various councils. Okay, let's go to the next topic. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. We can get a question like significance of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research in development of science and technology, or the role played by CSIR in scientific progress of the country. CSIR, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, is a contemporary research and development organization having a pan-India presence and is known for its cutting-edge R&D knowledge base in diverse areas of S&T. It has a dynamic. The CSIR has a network of 38 national laboratories, 39 outreach centers, 3 innovation complexes, and 5 units. CSIR R&D expertise and experience is embodied in about 4,600 active scientists, supported by 8,000 scientific and technical personnel. CSIR works under Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, that is DSIR. CSIR covers a wide spectrum of science and technology, from radio, space physics, oceanography, geophysics, chemicals, drugs, genomics, biotechnology, nanotechnology, mining, aeronautics, instrumentation, environmental engineering, and information technology. It provides a significant technological intervention in many areas with regard to societal efforts, which include environment, health, drinking water, food, housing, energy, farm, and non-farm sectors. Further, CSIR's role in S&T, human resource development, is noteworthy. CSIR is a pioneer of India's intellectual property movement. CSIR today is strengthening its patent portfolio to carve out global niches for the country in select technology domains. Most importantly, CSIR is granted 90% of US patents, which is 90% of CSIR is granted 90% of US patents granted to any Indian publicly funded R&D organization, which is an achievement. On an average, CSIR files about 200 Indian patents and 250 foreign patents per year. About 13.86% of CSIR patents are licensed, and the number of which is normally above the global average. This number is above the global average. Amongst its peers in publicly funded research organizations in the world, CSIR is the leader in terms of filing and securing patents worldwide. CSIR has operationalized and designed mechanics to boost entrepreneurship, which could lead to enhanced creation and commercialization of radical and disruptive innovations, underpinning the development of new economic sectors. Interestingly, CSIR has put up in place CSIR at the rate of 80, Vision and Strategy 22, and new CSR for New India. Let me repeat this. It has put up in place a new, that is CSIR at the rate of 80, Vision and Strategy 2022, new CSIR for New India. Its mission is to build a new CSIR for a new India, and vision is to pursue science which strives for global impact technology that enables innovation-driven industry and nurture transdisciplinary leadership, thereby catalyzing inclusive economic development for the people of India. CSIR is ranked 12th in the world among the world government institutions, and it's the only Indian organization among the top 100 global institutions. According to this world report, Scimago Institutions Ranking World Report 2016. The overall global ranking of CSIR also improved from 110 to 99, which is commendable. Okay, let's recap what we have discussed about CSIR. CSIR is a contemporary R&D organization which has a pan-India presence. It is known for cutting edge of R&D knowledge base. It has 39 outreach centers, 38 national laboratories, 3 innovation complexes, and 5 units. There are around 4,600 active scientists who are supported by 8,000 scientific and technical personnel. And CSIR works under DSIR, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. CSIR covers a wide spectrum of science and technology, from radio, physics, space physics, oceanography, geophysics, chemicals, drugs, genomics, biotechnology, nanotechnology, mining, aeronautics, instrumentation, environmental engineering, and information technology. Apart from that, it provides technological intervention in many areas with regard to societal efforts such as environment, health, drinking water, food, housing, energy, farm, and non-farm sectors. It also plays a role in human resource development as well, and it is a pioneer in India's intellectual property movement. It is granted CSIR has granted 90% of the US patents granted to any Indian publicly funded R&D organization. CSIR on average files about 200 Indian patents and 250 patents per year. About 13.8, let's say 14% of CSIR patents are licensed. CSIR has come up with a new vision, that is CSIR at the rate 80, Vision and Strategy 2022, that is new CSIR for New India. Mission is to build a new CSR for New India, and vision is to pursue science which strives for global impact technology that enables innovation-driven industry and nurture transdisciplinary leadership, thereby catalyzing inclusive economic development for the people of India. It also ranked 12th in the world among government institutions. And not recently, in 2016, it is among the top 100 global institutions. Okay, let's go to the next topic, that is Science and Engineering Research Board. What is the role played by it in promoting research in the areas of science and engineering in the country? So, Science and Engineering Research Board is a statutory body established through, what is a statutory body? Any body which is established through an Act of Parliament. SERB supports research in frontier areas like science and engineering. Mainly, that means it mainly supports research in science and engineering. That is why the name Science Engineering Research Board. A regular faculty or a researcher in any academic or research institution can seek research support to carry out his research. The board also gives special attention to young scientists below the age of 35. In case of SC, ST and OBCs and women or physically challenged, it is relaxed for 5 years. So it gives special attention to young scientists who are willing to undertake an independent research in newly emerging and frontier areas of science and engineering. High priority areas are supported through the intensification of research in high priority areas. There is a separate program, that is IRHPA, intensification of research in high priority area. The board also offers J.C. Bose National Fellowship to scientists and engineers for their outstanding performance and contributions, etc. And it also gives Ramanujan Fellowship for brilliant scientists and engineers from all over the world to take up scientific research positions in India. This mainly targets those scientists who want to return to India from abroad. The board also provides financial assistance for presenting research paper in international scientific events or conferences or symposium or workshops or seminars. SERB extends partial financial support on selective basis for organizing scientific events nationally or internationally in the country. So let's recap what is SERB and what is its contribution. SERB, which is Science and Engineering Research Board, is a statutory body established through an Act of Parliament. Mainly it focuses on research in science and engineering. Any faculty, regular faculty or researcher or a research institution can seek research support. The board also gives special attention to young scientists below the age of 35 who are undertaking independent research. Plus, it also focuses on high priority areas through a program called Intensification of Research in High Priority Area. It also gives National J.C. Bose National Fellowship to scientists and engineers for their outstanding performance and contributions. Next, it gives Ramanujan Fellowship for brilliant scientists and engineers from all over the world to take up scientific research positions in India. Especially, it targets those scientists who want to return. It encourages scientists who wants to come back to India from abroad. It also provides financial assistance for presenting research paper in international scientific events, and it also extends partial financial support on a selective basis for organizing scientific events as well as national and international events in the country. Okay, now let's go to the next interesting topic, ISRO, or Indian Space Research Organization, and let's look at all the 19 centers which ISRO has. It's very interesting, don't be worried. So we have discussed ISRO works under Department of Space. Yes, ISRO is responsible for planning, executing a viable space program to develop satellites and launch vehicles and provide space-based services in the areas of communication, meteorology, agriculture, resources, survey, management, and sustainable development. So let's look at number one, the first center. It is Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, which is at Thiruvananthapuram. If possible, pause the video and get a map so that it will be helpful so that you can map the main centers. I believe you opened the India map. Okay. So Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Thiruvananthapuram, VSSC. It's the largest of all ISRO centers. The center pursues active research and development in the field of aeronautics, avionics, materials, mechanism, vehicle integration, chemicals, propulsion, space ordnance, structures, space physics, and systems reliability. The center undertakes crucial responsibilities of design, manufacturing, analysis, development, and testing related to realization of subsystems for different missions. Simply put, it constructs PSLV, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, and GSLV, Geosynchronous Launch Vehicle rockets, and is specialized in solid propellant technology, avionics, aeronautics, polymers, composites, and other material sciences. Good. Let's look at the second center, that is Space Application Center at Ahmedabad, SAC. Is responsible for development, realization, and qualification of communication, navigation, Earth and planetary observation, meteorological payloads, and related data processing and ground systems. Next is UR Rao Satellite Center, Bengaluru. You might have heard about UR Rao. He is Udupi Ramachandra Rao. He is a space scientist. For a decade, he worked as the chairman of ISRO. He was instrumental in creating PSLV and GSLVs as well. Okay. Earlier, this satellite center was called ISRO Satellite Center, but later it was named as UR Rao Satellite Center. It is at Bangalore. It is a lead center for building satellites and developing associated satellite technologies. See, whenever you're seeing a center, there is a logic here. If you focus on the name, the keyword here is satellite. UR Rao Satellite Center. That means its work depends on satellites. Okay, let's go to the topic. It's a lead center for building what? Satellites, right? And developing associated technologies, satellite technologies, right? These spacecraft are used for providing applications to various users in the area of communication, navigation, meteorology, remote sensing, space science, and interplanetary explorations. Okay, let's look at the next center, that is ISRO Inertial Systems Unit, which is at Thiruvananthapuram. Earlier we had seen Vikram Sarabhai Space Center at Thiruvananthapuram. Now we have seen ISRO Inertial Systems Unit, which is also at Thiruvananthapuram. Okay, this is responsible for design and development of inertial systems for launch vehicles and spacecraft programs of ISRO. Major systems like inertial navigation systems based on mechanical gyros and optical gyros, attitude reference systems, rate gyro packages, and accelerometer packages are developed indigenously. What is this inertial navigation system? Okay, it's nothing but simply it provides an accurate position. Good. And this center also designs and develops actuators and mechanisms for spacecraft and lead applications. Okay, next go to the next center, that is fifth one, Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. You might have seen this in newspapers quite frequently. It was formerly known as Sriharikota High Altitude Range, which is in Andhra Pradesh. It is the rocket launching center of ISRO. It has three launching pads. First launching pad, second launching pad, and third launching pad is in final stages of completion. Currently, it has 2. This center has facilities for solid propellant processing, static testing of solid motors, launch vehicle integration, and launch operations, range operations, telemetry, tracking, command network, and mission control center. In the comments, you have to reply who is Satish Dhawan, what are his contributions. Thank you. I believe you'll do that. Thank you. Next, sixth center is National Remote Sensing Center, Shadnagar, Hyderabad. This is responsible for, the keyword here is remote sensing. Yes. It is responsible for remote sensing satellite data acquisition and processing, data dissemination, aerial remote sensing, and decision support for disaster management. NRSC has a data reception station at Shadnagar near Hyderabad for acquiring data from Indian remote sensing satellites as well as other satellites as well. Let's go to the next, seventh one, Regional Remote Sensing Services Centers. These are called RRSSCs. They are established in different parts of the country to distribute information of remote sensing satellites. They are located in Dehradun, Nagpur, Jodhpur in the west, Kolkata in the east, and Bangalore in the south. Eighth center is Liquid Propulsion System. It's called LPSC, Liquid Propulsion System Center. Here the keyword is liquid propulsion. It is a center for design, development, and realization of liquid propulsion stages for ISRO launch vehicles. Development of fluid control valves, transducers, propellant management devices for vacuum conditioning, and other components of liquid propulsion systems are also under the purview of this center. It has two campuses. One is at Tirunanthapuram, LPSC Vailamala Tirunanthapuram, and the next one is LPSC Bengaluru, Karnataka. Let's look at the ninth center under ISRO, that is ISRO Propulsion Complex. This is at Mahendragiri in Tamil Nadu. It is equipped with state-of-art facilities necessary for realizing cutting-edge propulsion technology products for Indian space program. Okay, next we're going to see 10th center, that is Northeastern Space Application Center, Shillong, Meghalaya. What is this? Okay, Northeastern Space Application Center is a joint initiative. Remember, it's a joint initiative between Department of Space and Northeastern Council. Why there is a joint initiative? To provide developmental support to Northeastern region using space science and technology. This center has the mandate to develop high technology infrastructure support to play the catalytic role in holistic development of Northeastern region of India by providing space science and technology support. Let's go to the 11th center, that is Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Tirunanthapuram. Till now we have seen three centers at Tirunanthapuram, that is VSSC, IISU, and third one is Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Tirunanthapuram. This is the first space university in Asia. Remember, in Asia, first space university. It was started with academic year 2007-8. The main objective is to develop human resources exclusively trained in space and related sciences. It offers BTech programs in avionics and aerospace engineering, and integrated MSc in applied sciences, and even doctoral and postdoctoral courses. Let's go to the 12th center, that is Development and Education Communication Unit, DECU, which is at Ahmedabad. The keyword is education communication. It is dedicated for realizing satellite communication based societal applications in the country. The major activities of DECU are SATCOM network configuration, implementation, upgradation, migration, utilization, sustenance, social research and evaluation. Program production and transmission and training. So you understand it's all mostly related to communication, satellite communication. DECU evaluates the socio-economic development achieved by every satellite and sends the reports. Next center is 13th center, National Atmospheric Research Laboratory, Gaddanki, Tirupati. It's in Andhra Pradesh. NARL. The keyword is atmospheric research. It was first established as National Mesosphere, Stratosphere, Troposphere Radar Facility, that is NMSRF, in 1992. It's an autonomous society supported by Department of Space. It is a center for atmospheric research. It is involved in technology development, observations, data archival, dissemination, assimilation, and modeling. Next, 14th center, ISRO Telemetry and Command Network, which is in Bengaluru. It tracks any given telemetry and command network, is the keyword here. It tracks any given satellite in any given time. It has so many ground stations that provide mission support to space vehicles, as well as satellites during their orbital movement and their flight. It tracks the satellites with the help of ground stations located in Thiruvananthapuram, Sriharikota, Lucknow, Bengaluru, Port Blair, Mauritius, Biak in Indonesia, BIAK, and Brunei as well. These are the ground stations which work in tandem with telemetry and command network. Next center is 15, Master Control Facility, which is at Hassan, Karnataka, and Bhopal. It's at two places. MCF, Master Control Facility. It monitors and controls all geostationary and geosynchronous satellites of ISRO, namely INSAT, INSAT, GSAT, GSAT, Kalpana, and IRNSS series of satellites. Master Control Facility is responsible for orbit raising of satellites, in-orbit payload testing, and on-orbit operations all through the life of the satellites. The 16th center is Physical Research Laboratory at Ahmedabad. Earlier we have seen one university at Ahmedabad, that is DECU, Development and Education Communication Unit. Now it's the second one, that is PRL, Physical Research Laboratory. It's an autonomous unit under Department of Science and a premier research institute engaged in basic research in the areas of astronomy and astrophysics, solar physics, planetary science, and exploration, space geosciences, atomic and molecular optical physics, and astrophysics. This is mostly focused on research. Let's look at the 17th center, that is Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, which is at Dehradun. The keyword is remote sensing. It's a premier institute with the objective of capacity building in remote sensing and geoinformatics and their applications through education and training programs at postgraduate level. The institute also hosts and provides support to Center for Space and Science and Technology Education in Asia and Pacific, which is affiliated with the United Nations. So let's look at the 18th center, that is Antrix Corporation Limited, Bengaluru. You might have heard this or read about it in the newspapers. It is the commercial and marketing arm of ISRO. It is engaged in providing space products and services to international customers worldwide. It is fully equipped with state-of-art facilities. Antrix provides end-to-end solutions for many of the space products. The last in the 19th center is Human Space Flight Center, Bengaluru. It is very important, remember. I'll tell you why it is important. Human Space Flight Center, HSFC, at Bengaluru. It's a new ISRO center inaugurated on January 30th, 2019. When was it inaugurated? January 30th, 2019. It will be responsible for the implementation of Gaganyaan project. That is why it's important. Which Gaganyaan involves end-to-end mission planning. The project involves end-to-end mission planning, development of engineering systems for crucial crew survival in space, crew selection, training, and also pursue activities for sustained human spaceflight missions. So that's why it's important. Dr. Unnikrishnan Nair is the founder and director of Human Space Flight Center, which is at Bengaluru, started on January 30, 2019. Brilliant. We will recap what we have seen for this question. Major ISRO centers: Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Thiruvananthapuram. It focuses on research and development in the field of aeronautics, avionics, mechanics, vehicle integration, chemical propulsion, space ordnance structures, space physics, systems reliability. It constructs PSLV and GSLV rockets and is specialized in solid propellant technologies. Next, we have seen a Space Application Center, Ahmedabad. Mostly focuses on navigation, Earth, planetary observation, meteorological payloads, etc. Next, we have seen UR Rao Satellite Center at Bengaluru. It focuses on providing applications in the area of communication, navigation, remote sensing, space science. It also leads the lead center for building satellites and developing associated satellite technologies. The fourth center is ISRO Inertial Systems Unit, which is at Thiruvananthapuram. It builds systems like inertial navigation systems, rate gyro, accelerator meter packages, optical gyros, etc. The fifth one is Satish Dhawan Space Center, which is at Sriharikota, formerly known as Sriharikota High Altitude Range. It's the rocket launching center of India. Currently it has 2 launching pads. It's building the third one, which is in final stage of completion. Apart from this, the center has facilities for solid propellant processing, static testing of solid motors, etc. Sixth center is National Remote Sensing Center, Shadnagar, Hyderabad, responsible for remote sensing, satellite data acquisition, processing, data dissemination, aerial remote sensing, decision support for disaster management, all these things. The seventh center is Regional Remote Sensing Services. They are at different places, established at what? Dehradun, Nagpur, Jodhpur, Kolkata, Bangalore. Right. Eighth one is Liquid Propulsion System Center, LPSC. The design, develop, realization of liquid propulsion stages for ISRO launch vehicles. Next, we have seen ISRO Propulsion Complex, which is at Mahendragiri, Tamil Nadu, which has state-of-art facilities necessary for developing cutting-edge propulsion technology products. Next, we have seen the 10th one, which is most important. We have seen Northeastern Space Application Center, Shillong, Meghalaya. It's a joint venture between Department of Science and Northeastern Council to provide developmental support to Northeastern region using space science and technology. Next is 11th one. We have seen Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology at Thiruvananthapuram. It's the first space university in Asia. It has programs like BTech, MSc, and postdoctoral courses. Next, we have seen Development and Education Communication Unit, DECU at Ahmedabad. It evaluates the socio-economic development achieved by every satellite and sends the reports, and majorly focuses on satellite communication-based societal applications in the country. Next, 13th center is National Atmospheric Research Laboratory at Tirupati. It's an autonomous body. It studies atmosphere. It's focused on atmospheric research. Next, we have seen ISRO Telemetry and Command Network Center at Bangalore. It tracks any given satellite in any given time. So it has different ground stations at Thiruvananthapuram, Sriharikota, Lucknow, Bangalore, Port Blair, Mauritius, Biak in Indonesia, and Brunei as well. Next, 15th center, Master Control Facility, Hassan, Karnataka. And another one is Bhopal, MP. So MCF monitors and controls all geostationary and geosynchronous satellites of ISRO, like IRNSS, INSAT, GSAT, others. The 16th center is Physical Research Laboratory of Ahmedabad. It's an autonomous unit under Department of Science, Space. It focuses on astronomy, astrophysics, solar physics, planetary science, exploration, atmospheric sciences, etc. The 19th center is Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. The 17th center, Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, Dehradun. It's focused on capacity building in remote sensing and geoinformatics, and it provides training, etc. Next, we have seen Antrix Corporation Limited, which is the 18th center, which is in Bengaluru. It's a commercial and marketing arm of ISRO. It is engaged in providing space products and services to international customers worldwide. And the 19th center is Human Space Flight Center, HSFC, which is very important. It is recently started in January 30, 2019. It is responsible for implementation of Gaganyaan project. Nice. Let's go to the next topic. Functions and objectives of major centers of Department of Atomic Energy. Under Department of Atomic Energy, it functions with the tagline, Atoms in the Service of the Nation. Remember, atoms in the service of nation. It has different centers. First one is Bhabha Atomic Research Center, which is at Trombay, Mumbai. It was first established in 1957 as Atomic Energy Establishment, and later in 1967 it was named as BARC. It's the largest of all atomic energy centers. It is involved in reactor engineering. It also produces radioactive isotopes related technologies for use in industry, agriculture, medicine. It carries out research in nuclear agriculture, nuclear medicine. It also carries out basic research in nuclear science and spectroscopy. And then the next center is Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, that is IGCR at Kalpakkam, Chennai. It is the second largest center of all the DAE. This is dedicated to research in fast breeding technology. It successfully developed prototype fast breeder reactors, that is PFBR. The third center is Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, Kolkata. The keyword is cyclotron. What happens when you cycle? Your speed increases. Same thing, cyclotron is a device that accelerates fundamental particle to the required speed. The VECC, that is Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, carries out basic research in nuclear sciences, accelerator sciences, material sciences, computer science, etc. The fourth center is Raja Ramana Center for Advanced Technology, RRCAT, Indore. In the earlier chapters, we have discussed about the contributions of Raja Ramana. Originally, this center was established as Center for Advanced Technology, CATs. Later, it was named after Raja Ramana. It was established as an extension center to the activities of BARC in 1986. The fifth center is Atomic Minerals Directorate of Exploration and Research, AMDER, which is in Hyderabad. The keywords are exploration. It is actually established in Delhi in 1949 as the Rare Minerals Survey Unit. In 1958, it changed as Atomic Minerals Division. In 1974, it was shifted to Hyderabad. In 1998, it was given directorate status. Let's look at its functions. It carries out the exploration of thorium, beryllium, lithium, zirconium, tantalum, niobium. Let's look at the sixth center, Heavy Water Board, which is at Mumbai, HWB. This is involved in commercial production of heavy water, which can be used. You know the uses of heavy water. It is used as a moderator in atomic reactors. It is also used as a coolant. The main objective of the center is to produce heavy water according to the domestic, that is the nation needs, and also taking into account the export potential. It currently operates 7 heavy water plants, which are located in Baroda and Hazaria, which are in Gujarat, Kota in Rajasthan, Manuguru in Telangana, Talcher in Odisha, Thal in Maharashtra, and Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu. Let's go and see the 7th center. It is Board of Radiation and Isotope Technology, BRIT, which is at Mumbai. The keywords are radiation and isotope here. BRIT manufactures a lot of radioactive isotopes that are used in agriculture, medicine, industry, and it made India the largest exporter of isotopes. Apart from producing radioactive isotopes like C14, S35, P32, P33, CO60, I-131, it also manufactures radioimmunoassay RIA kits. It develops radioimmunoassay kits and gamma irradiators and gamma ray scanning and provides them to industries. The next 8th center is Nuclear Fuel Complex, which is in Hyderabad, NFC. It was established in 1971. This center supplies the nuclear fuel bundles to the core of reactors as a part of nuclear power program. It produces natural uranium, enriched uranium, zirconium, and even many alloys. NFC is involved in processing of mineral magnesium diuranate and produces uranium required for the pressurized heavy water reactors in India. The 9th center, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL, which is in Mumbai. NPCIL constructs and operates first stage reactors of the country, that is pressurized heavy water reactors, PHWR. In fact, it is operating a total of 22 reactors with installed power capacity of 6,780 megawatts. The corporation plays a very key role in construction of Kudankulam reactor in collaboration with Russia. Remember this, where you might get it in prelims. The next center is 10th one, Uranium Corporation of India Limited, Jaduguda, Singhbum district, Jharkhand. It was established in 1967, principally involved in mining out uranium in 4 mines in Jharkhand. The 11th center, Bharatiya Nabakiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, that is Baghini, which is at Kalpakam, Chennai. We also have another center in Chennai, that is earlier we have discussed, that is Kudankulam reactor, which was built in collaboration with Russia. Coming back to Bhavani, it is a new public sector undertaking under Department of Atomic Energy. established in October 2003 for the construction of second stage reactors, that is fast breeder reactors. What are the first stage reactors? Pressurized heavy water reactors. The second stage are fast breeder reactors. Okay, let's go to the next center, that is the 12th one, under Department of Atomic Energy. The 12th center is India Rare Earth Limited, Mumbai, that is IREL. It is involved in the exploration of rare minerals like ilmenite, zircon, sillimanite, monazite, rutile. This is also producing thorium by chemical processing of monazite. It also manufactures white pigments, ceramics, and welding electrodes, which have applications both outside and inside the atomic energy. Okay, let's look at the 13th one, the last one. Electronics Corporation of India Limited, that is ECIL, which is in Hyderabad, Telangana. It was established in 1967 with an objective of developing strategic electronics for atomic energy, defense, security. ECIL developed many ultra-low power microcontrollers, Linux-based software, encryption and biometric systems. In addition, apart from all this, there are many aided institutions under Department of Atomic Energy which are involved in development of human resources and research in basic and interdisciplinary areas. Some of them are Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai, Institute of Physics, Bhubaneswar, Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics, Kolkata, Institute of Mathematical Science, Chennai, Institute of Plasma Research, Ahmedabad, Board of Research in Nuclear Science, Mumbai. Okay, let's recap. We have seen the functions and objectives of Department of Atomic Energy centers. There are 13 centers under it. First one is Bhabha Atomic Research Center, which is at Mumbai. It is the largest of all. It produces radioactive isotopes and related technologies. It focuses on nuclear medicine and nuclear agriculture and other areas as well. The second center is Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research at Kalapakam, IGCAR. We have seen other center at Kalapakam, that is Bhavini, Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited. Okay, what does this IGCAR do? It is the second largest center. It is dedicated to research of fast breeding technology. It has successfully developed prototype fast breeder reactors. 3. We have seen Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, that is VECC, which is at Kolkata. Cyclotron, I told what does it do. This carries out basic research in nuclear sciences, accelerators, science, material sciences, computer science. Next, we have seen Raja Ramana Center for Advanced Technology. It's an extension center for BARC. The fifth center is Atomic Minerals Directorate of Exploration and Research, which is in Hyderabad. It explores thorium, beryllium, lithium, zirconium, all other minerals related to atomic energy. The sixth center is Heavy Water Board at Mumbai. It produces heavy water used as a moderator and a coolant. It produces heavy water for domestic needs and export as well. The seventh center is Board of Radiation and Isotope Technology, which is in Mumbai. Apart from only producing radioactive isotopes, it also manufactures radioimmunoassay kits, gamma radiators and gamma ray scanning as well. The eighth center is Nuclear Fuel Complex, which is in Hyderabad. Fuel is a keyword. It supplies fuel bundles to the core of the reactors as a part of nuclear power program. Next, we have seen ninth center, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL in Mumbai, which constructs and operates first stage reactors of the country. First stage reactors are pressurized heavy water reactors. And the corporation played a very key role in constructing Kudankulam reactors in collaboration with the country. I have told you earlier. The 10th center is Uranium Corporation of India Limited, Jaduguda, Singhbum in Jharkhand. It is involved in mining out uranium in 4 mines in Jharkhand. The 11th center is Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, BHAVINI, Kalapakam. The place is at Kalapakam, Chennai. It's a new public sector undertaking under DIA. Its purpose is construction of second stage reactors. Those are FBR, fast breeder reactors. The 12th center is India Rare Earth Metals, Mumbai. It involved in exploration of rare minerals like ilmenite, zircon, sillimanite, monazite, rutile. This is already producing thorium by chemically processing of monazite. The 13th center which we have seen is Electronics Corporation of India Limited, Hyderabad, that is ECIL. It focuses on strategic electronics for atomic energy, defense and security. It has developed many ultra low power microcontrollers. Brilliant. So let's go to the next topic, that is CSIR, the major labs of CSIR in the country. CSIR means Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, which is known for its cutting edge R&D knowledge base, which we have discussed earlier as well. It has 38 national laboratories, 39 outreach centers, 3 innovation complexes and 5 units. It works under Department of Science and Technology. Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. CSIR has around 4,600 active scientists, supported by 8,000 scientific and technical personnel. Let's look at the major labs. It has around 9 labs or 9 centers under it, the major ones. The first one is CCMB, you might have heard about it, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, which is in Hyderabad, a premium research organization in frontier areas of modern biology. It conducts high quality basic research and training in modern biology. It has been chosen as the Center for Excellence by UNESCO's Global Network of Molecular and Cell Biology as well. Second center is Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow, that is CDRI. It's a premier drug research institute of India. It was started in 1951. It made significant accomplishments in the pursuit of its mission to new drugs and technologies for affordable healthcare. It generated knowledge base and nurtured future leaders for healthcare as well. The third center is Central Food Technology Research Institute, Mysore, that is CFTRI. It came into existence during 1950 with a vision of inspiring and dedicating scientists who has fascination to pursue in-depth research and development in the areas of food science and technology. Its research focused on areas like engineering sciences, technology development, translation research, food protection, and safety. The fourth center is Central Leather Research Institute, Chennai. It was founded on 24th April 1948. Yes, 1948. Why was the Leather Research Institute founded then? Let's look at it. It was a landmark decision of the country to invest into leather research. In 1947, the export basket of India included mostly raw hides and skin. There remained an untapped opportunity for India in leather sector for economic development, employment generation, and export earnings. The missing link was addition of technology to the manufacturing base of Indian leather sector. So that is when the Central Leather Research Institute was found to support the sector, to develop an internal strength in the country, to generate, assimilate and innovate technologies for leather sector. The fifth center is Central Salt Marine Chemicals Research Institute, that is CSMCRI. It is at Bhavnagar. The mission of the institute and its people is to work in partnership with visionary sponsors and collaborators to generate the knowledge and innovations required for efficient utilization of our coastal wastelands, seawater, marine algae, solar power, silicates, all these things. In 2011, the institute has around 360 staff with 150 S&T staff, around 250 research fellows and project assistants pursuing doctoral program. So mainly it focuses on protecting our coastal wetland, seawater, marine algae, solar power and silicates. The sixth center is National Geophysical Research Institute, NGRI, Hyderabad. NGRI was established in 1961 with a mission to carry out research in multidisciplinary areas of high complex structures and processes of Earth system and its extensively interlinked subsystems. NGRI has a mandate to conduct research for public good, to enable government agencies, public and private sector stakeholders to make informed decisions about the use of georesources sustainably and to improve preparedness and resilience to natural hazards. The seventh center is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, that is NEERI, Nagpur. It has a nationwide presence with 5 zonal laboratories in Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Mumbai. The mandate is to conduct research and development studies in environmental science and engineering. It has successfully transferred two technologies like wastewater treatment technology to micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs, and solar electrolytic defluoridation. We have seen that there is a fluorosis problem. They have transferred the solar electrolytic defluoridation technology of water to 9 MSME entrepreneurs. The next center is Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, that is TKDL, New Delhi. TKDL is a pioneer initiative of India to prevent misappropriation of country's traditional medicinal knowledge at international patent offices, on which healthcare needs of more than 70% of the population and livelihood of millions of people in India is dependent. Its genesis dates back to the Indian effort on revocation of patent on wound healing properties of turmeric at USPTO, United Nations Patent Organization. Besides, in 2005, the TKDL expert group estimated that 2,000 wrong patents concerning Indian systems of medicine were being granted every year at international level, mainly due to the fact that India's traditional medicinal knowledge, which exists in local languages like Sanskrit, Hindi, Arabic, Urdu, Tamil, etc., is neither accessible or comprehensible by patent examiners who are sitting in US at the International Patent Office. The ninth center is National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. NCL was established in 1950 and is a science and knowledge-based research, development and consulting organization. It is internationally known for its excellence in scientific research, in chemistry and chemical engineering, as well as outstanding track record for industrial research involving partnerships with industry from concept to commercialization. So let's recap what we have seen. The major labs under we have discussed about CSIR and the major labs under CSIR. There are around 9 labs under CSIR. CCMB at Hyderabad, it focuses on modern biology, and we have seen second center, Central Drug Research Institute at Lucknow. It's a premier drug research institute. And the next we have seen Central Food Technology Research Institute at Mysore, which focuses on food protection and safety, engineering science areas, technology development, translation research. And the fourth center we have seen is Central Leather Research Institute, which is in Chennai. And then we have seen the background, why was it started. And the fifth center is Central Salt Marine Chemicals Research Institute at Bhavnagar. The mission of the institute is to work in partnership with visionary sponsors and collaborators to generate knowledge and innovations required for efficient utilization of coastal wastelands, seawater, marine algae, solar power and silicates. Next we have seen the sixth one, National Geophysical Research Institute, NGRI, which is in Hyderabad. It was established in 1961. It carries out research in multidisciplinary areas of high complex structures and processes of earth systems and is extensively interlinked subsystems. Next we have seen seventh center, that is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute in Nagpur, NEERI. It has nationwide presence. It has 5 zonal laboratories at Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai. It studies environmental science and engineering. It focuses research on environmental science and engineering. It has transferred 2 technologies. One is wastewater treatment technology and the other one is solar electrolytic defluoridation technology. Next we have seen the 8th center, that is Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, which is mainly started to protect our patents. The 9th center is National Chemical Laboratory, Pune, which focuses on chemistry and chemical engineering. Okay, let's go to the next topic, that is Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR, and what is the role played by it in achieving food security in India. Indian Council of Agricultural Research is an autonomous organization under the Department of Agriculture, Research and Education, that is DARE, DARE. which functions under, this department functions under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. With 101 ICAR institutes and 71 agricultural universities spread across the country, this is one of the largest national agricultural systems in the world. I'll repeat, 101 institutes, 71 agricultural universities spread across the country. There are 4 deemed universities, that is IARI, IVRI, NDRI, CIFE, and 64 national institutes, 15 national research centers, and 6 national bureaus and 13 directorates working under ICAR. You can understand the importance of it. The ICAR has played a pioneering role in ushering green revolution and subsequent developments in agriculture in India through its research and technology that has enabled the country to increase its food grains by 5.4 times, horticultural crops by 10.1 times, fish by 15.2 times, milk by 9.7 times, and eggs by 48.1 times. Since 1951 to 2017, thus making a visible impact on the national food and national nutritional security. It has played a major role in promoting excellence in higher education in agriculture. It is engaged in cutting-edge areas of science and technology development, and its scientists are internationally acknowledged in their fields. So let's recap. ICAR is an autonomous organization under Department of Agriculture and Research and Education, which functions under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. It has around 108 ICAR institutions, 71 agricultural universities. Not only that, there are 4 deemed universities under it, that is IARI, IVRI, NDRI, CIFE, and 64 national institutions, and etc. It has played an important role in green revolution and subsequent developments in agriculture. It has increased the food grain production by 5.4 times, horticultural crops by 10.1 times, fish by 15.2 times, milk by 9.7 times, eggs by 48.1 times from 1951 to 2017. Okay, let's look at the last topic, that is the role of autonomous research centers in the development of science and technology in our country. A number of autonomous research institutes working under Department of Science and Technology are playing a vital role. Apart from that, there are other autonomous research institutions, some such as autonomous bodies working in the field of astrophysics, paleobotany, Himalayan ecology, geomagnetism, microbiology, modern biology, medicine. Some of them are providing ultra-modern scientific infrastructure to our Indian scientists. The scientists of Agarkar Research Institute in Pune developed foliar spray that increases crop yield. This technology was transferred to the private players as well. This Agarkar Research Institute also developed microorganisms that can purify water from toxic substances like cyanide, metal cyanide, caprolactam as well. In association with National Chemical Laboratories, Agarkar Research Institute has identified LR28 gene that can efficiently resist leaf rust in wheat, which can reduce leaf rust in wheat. That's what they've identified, this gene LR28. Okay, the Indian Association for Cultivation of Sciences at Kolkata successfully developed nanostructured semiconductors. Likewise, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Science and Technology at Thiruvananthapuram played a tremendous role in the field of biomedical technology. This institute also developed a heart valve oxygen incubator for the newborn, vascular graft apart from establishing blood banks as well. And the next center, the National Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, which is in Bengaluru, conducts summer fellowship program with an objective of providing awareness to the young scientists in the world on various modern trends in research areas of science and technology. The Raman Research Institute at Bangalore is continuously engaged in astronomy. And likewise, the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology at Pune is playing a very important role in collecting real-time data on Indian southwest monsoons. The Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleobotany at Lucknow is premier organization on studying plant fossils. Paleobotany is nothing but study of plant fossils. The Indian Institute of Geomagnetism at Mumbai is conducting various studies on upper atmosphere as well as solid state geomagnetism. To promote technological advances, a developing country like India should invest in quality education for youth, continuous skill training for workers and managers, and should ensure that knowledge is shared widely as possible across the society. Let's recap what we have seen. The role of autonomous research centers in the development of science and technology in the country. We have seen, let's recap the examples. We have seen Agarkar Research Institute, which has developed microorganisms that can purify water, that can remove toxic substances like cyanide, metal cyanide, and caprolactam. It has developed a foliar spray. Foliar is leaf spray that increases crop yield. Along with National Chemical Laboratories, Agarkar Research Institute has identified a gene, that is LR28, that can reduce leaf rust in wheat. Next institute is Indian Association of Cultivation of Sciences at Kolkata, developed nanostructured semiconductor. Tirunelveli Institute of Medical Sciences developed heart valves, oxygen incubators for the newborn, vascular graft after establishing blood banks. The Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research in Bangalore is conducting awareness to the young institutions. Raman Research Institute in Bangalore is continuously engaged in astronomy. The Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology in Pune plays an important role in collecting real-time data of the Indian southwest monsoon. The Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleobotany at Lucknow is a premier organization on studying plant fossils. The Indian Institute of Geomagnetism at Mumbai is conducting various studies on solid state geomagnetism. Okay. So today we have seen the science and technology system in India, and we have discussed in detail about the Department of Science and Technology, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. It works under Department of Science, Scientific and Industrial Research, and we have discussed in detail about the centers. Then we have seen Science and Engineering Research Board, and next we have seen Indian Space Research Organization and its 19 centers. Next we have seen Department of Atomic Energy, under which we have discussed BARC, Baba Atomic Research Center, and other centers. After that, we have discussed about CSIR and its labs, like Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, and all these things. And lastly, we have seen Indian Council of Agriculture Research and the role of autonomous research centers in the development of science and technology in our country. Brilliant. Whenever possible, make a keyword notes. If you have any doubts, you can email to the mail ID provided in the video, in the description. Alright, we'll end our class. Thank you for listening.